Now, Gen Z are looking at rejecting toxic online spaces for real life role models. Two real life role models are sisters Nairobi and Chaya, who have been making music together for the last 5 years. How are we doing, girls? You good?
We're good, thank you. How are you doing?
All good here. So tell us a bit about how your two-piece rock band came about.
Oh, so it was during the pandemic. There was a whole lot of nothing to do, and our mum kind of gave us a challenge, knowing that we loved music, to try and take it seriously and do some research about the actual industry and see if we can release our first single. And then we did in 2022 February, and then from then it went so well in the first few months. And luckily for us, she believed in us at the ages of like, what, 15 and 18, that we could make a career out of this. And then we just kept going. So that was like our first taste of the industry.
But in itself, though, a bit of a challenge, particularly for Nairobi, with the chronic fatigue syndrome that you suffer.
Yes, it was really, really difficult. And we have to make sure that loads of like precautions. So making sure I'm not doing too much energy wise. So with our tour in particular, jumping to the future. So we just came off our debut tour, which was incredible, but I'm not able to perform like back to back to back show wise. So we were able to take gaps in between. So I need my therapy, I need time to rest in between because I have like chronic pain and chronic tiredness. So we did like two shows, a gap, two shows, another like 2 days gaps and like breaks and stuff. And I think financially it's not usually possible for a band of our size, but we
Yeah.
did get funding for it. We got the Arts Council National Lottery Project grant for it. So that's kind of how, with my disability, we've been able to launch our first ever UK tour successfully at
Which is
that.
absolutely brilliant. I mean, Cheo, what's it like being out on the road then on this? Because I know you're pretty much always looking out for your sister, aren't you? Even though you don't admit to it very often, you know you're really keeping an eye on her.
Yeah, it's just I feel like being on the road is very fun. Our tour was our first time. Well, we did our what's it called?
Install.
Install, but that's different. But the April tour, it was really fun, and it wasn't too bad, was it, in terms of
No.
disability wise?
No, well, it's because I have like it's so much more than just like Alt Black here and Arabian Chase. We have a whole team
Yeah.
doing everything else. So I can't carry boxes of merch.
Mhm.
So the band were doing things like that. So we were able to pull in other sources of muscle.
But I think
Yeah.
this is where teamwork does come in. So, I mean, and real life is so much better because I mean, this is the research that we've seen from the National Lottery here is showing that we want to get away from just living online, even when you have got a condition which can be debilitating. I'm up to 23 hours you found yourself having the need to sleep from the past. You've worked through that through determination, wanting to be part of this, through support, help, and funding to allow this to happen. And actually, you're really reaping the benefits and showing what other people can do as a complete game changer.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that people really are like, well, on one side, people don't value like getting funding enough, but on the other hand, people don't know it exists because
Mm.
for us to achieve everything that we have at this age, it wouldn't have been possible without funding. And it just shows that if you support young people, it's not like because a lot of people think that age equals talent and with experience, but I think we've kind of proven that young people can be successful if as long as you give them a chance. So I
It's
hope,
getting that raw talent focused, isn't it? And actually letting people realise this opportunity out there. And as a generation of game changers, the National Lottery, you're helping with funding here. I mean, how did you first learn that there was cash to help you sort of show off the talents that you have and develop a skill set off the back of your own work?
so it was during of like 2021 when my illness was kind of like at its worst. My mum found this songwriting course. It was run by Inspire Youth Arts, which is also funded by Arts Council. And I went on every Tuesday for an hour. And I was just remember being in so much pain, being so tired. I was like, Mom, no, like, let me sleep. This, like, I'll go next week. I'm too tired. And she was like, No, Nairobi, you love music. Get up right now. It's just an hour. And then I'd like sleep the whole week. But then on Tuesday, for that 1 hour, I'd get up. So music really gave me a reason to like live, if that makes sense. Because it was
Mhm.
still during COVID time, so it was really scary just going out of the house. I didn't have much of a social life as well with my disability. So the world just kind of crumbled, but music really brought me back into the real world. So I'm yeah, really grateful for that.
And you can't get more real world than a gig out and about touring the UK, and making sure that those interactions are real. This is meaningful stuff. Well, not only for you to producing the music, not only the Old Black Era name that's now out there that people know, and you can see that it's even better when it's on merch, but also the fact that you're getting a true interaction from the audience and feedback, which is so positive.
Yeah, I think so. When I didn't tell anyone about my disability for the first like 2 years of our music career because I didn't want people to think that we got any like handouts or like or given this because she's disabled, or I didn't want people to like scrutinize our hard work, or think that we couldn't do a really incredible high energy live show because I have chronic fatigue syndrome. So we did the big shows, we gave the full energy, and then we were like, oh, and by the way, I also have this, but don't treat me any differently because we've been fine these past 2 years, if that makes sense.
Yeah, but if it is just a feature of you, but it's getting people to the point at which they realise that's just part of you, and you don't alter your lifestyle any more than you need to. Yes, you've got to take it into account as a family and as a unit. You work on making sure you get the best out of what you do, but you adapt, and it's that adaptability which I think is more important than anything else. And the fact that you're showing off to people, yes, you can adapt. You may have to find a different way of doing things to what
Right.
the mainstream is, but who wants to be mainstream anyway?
I think it's been really really exciting to see because even so on one hand seeing disabled people being like I feel so empowered seeing you with your walking stick, and now I feel that I can go out and about with my walking stick, which is amazing to hear, knowing that because growing up being like a 16, 17 year old, I was really frightened to go out with a walking stick or a Zimmer frame or my wheelchair. I was like, what are people going to think when they see a teenager with in a wheelchair, you know? But having so many people message me privately or see me at shows and be like, I bought my walking stick today because I felt comfortable to bring it here. Like that, you know, just little moments like that really just have such a deep impact on why we're making music, why we are sharing this kind of story, but also how we're kind of like normalizing disability for the people that aren't disabled or aren't necessarily even alternative that listen to our music, but they just like the vibes. Getting used to seeing a disabled person on stage and them raving in mosh pits down the bottom without it being like um so solely focused about my disability. Like I have a personality outside of my disability. I'm still a human being with, you know, all the emotions. So to have people see me as more than my disability and have a great time as well has been amazing.
Yeah, well, your chronic fatigue syndrome is something which actually has probably focused and allowed you to be more of who you are and more of the person we see than you probably would have done if it hadn't been there. So whilst, yes, in an ideal world, nobody would have these differences which move them away from what we consider standard, but actually it's part of building that strength, that power, and that presence that you have on stage when you perform.
Yeah, exactly. And there's one thing my aunt always used to say is that like I was sleeping so much, but it was like fueling my creativity. So like when I was awake, that's how I was writing these amazing songs, and that's how I was doing these amazing shows because I was like charging, basically. So she put it like that, which I loved.
Yeah, well, that sounds absolutely brilliant. So, okay, well, first of all, where do we find out all about your music?
Everywhere, you know, Spotify, YouTube. You can follow us on Instagram. We're actually starting up a book club as well. We are able to release our first ever book about the album, about my disability and our story, and that's also through the Arts Council National Lottery funding as well. So we've got to share a lot more intimate on who we are as people, what our journey means to us, and I think what it means to like the community that we've built up around us. So look out for the book club. We're starting that soon.
Yeah, that'll be on our Discord.
Discord.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're searching for Alt Black Era, ALTBLKERA, if you're looking for that there. So not only can we find out about your music there, but we can also find about all the National Lottery game changes by giving that a bit of a search. Give it a Google, and you can see more of the amazing people like our performers here who will be showing off their talents, developing skills, and yeah, helping through funding that comes from the Arts Council to really demonstrate the brilliance of what we can do. Yes, online, but also most importantly that face-to-face connection that we all really enjoy. Now, Robbie and Chaya, Alt Black Era, thank you for joining us.
Thank you
Thanks
so
for having
much.
us.